Tonight, my friends, we are going to talk a little bit about home parties. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but let's say you are just getting started and you're getting going and you're already having some success and you're actually super excited about it. But now you have somebody in your team, they're ready to roll, they're ready to get their business kicked off, and they want to have a home party. Maybe you've been doing your business for a little while, or perhaps you're just getting started and now you're like so excited because you finally have somebody that joined your team. You're finally ready to kick things off, but now, it's time for you to put on your leader hat and get this party started and get things rocking and rolling. So what does that look like exactly? And it's interesting because I did my first home party, goodness, I think it was in 2007. So I'm coming up on my 10-year anniversary. It's crazy because my husband and I were doing this business together. We had been practicing all day long to get ready for this home party. And we go there and it wasn't like there was a huge group of people, but we wanted to be ready and we were a little bit nervous. We had a flip chart presentation we were going through. But here we are. That was 10 years ago, hundreds and hundreds of parties later. I'm going to share with you guys some tips. So if you're brand new getting started, I understand the nervousness, the anxiety, the kind of feeling of being unsure. And I believe what we're going to cover tonight is going to help you on your journey. So the first thing is, if you are the leader in charge and you're going to help somebody in your organization host a home party, what do you want to do? Well, number one, you want to prepare your new person. You want to kind of let them know, first and foremost, what should it be like? Hey, this is how you want to set up your home. Maybe if you're in a place where it's cold, get your heat up a little bit. If you're in a place where it's hot, like I was in San Diego a couple of days ago, I'm here in Houston right now. It can get hot. And the last thing we want is people falling asleep at our home party. So make sure it's just, a tiny bit cool in the home. That's important. As far as food, I'm not big on doing a big spread of food because people are there to hear about what it is that you're doing. They're not coming over to eat. I mean, if we invited them to eat, then yeah, you have to have food. But most of the time, if you prepare your host, whoever's hosting the party, if you prepare them properly, light hors d'oeuvres is fine, cheese and crackers kind of deal, but you really don't need a spread of food. Kids, we would like to see a spot that the kids could go so that, they're not trying to steal the action or take away the attention from mom or dad who's trying to host the party, right? Same thing with pets. Pets can steal the show. So we want to kind of let your host know this is kind of what you're thinking, because you want them to have a super successful party and, get some new signups from it, get some fruit from their labor, right? So that is important. How about, what should they have ready? Like if you have anything in particular that they do need to have, make sure you let them know, hey, we're going to need to have this. Hey, we're going to need to have that, just so they kind of have it in their mind. Now, the goal is, kind of downplay it so the host doesn't feel overwhelmed, but at the same time, kind of walk them through like, hey, this is what you should expect. This is how it's going to go, and so on and so forth. One big thing, this is one of my personal pet peeves, and I'm sure we have some other amazing leaders on here as well. I'm sure this has probably happened to you before, perhaps if you've done a lot of parties. If you've ever gone to somebody's house and they are ready, they're like, I invited all these people, it's going to be awesome, everybody is coming, and you go there and like they have their house set out, so like there's a lot of chairs that are down, there's the spread of food going on, maybe they have a big display of your product. I always kind of let the host know, like, hey, just keep your house exactly how it is. Like, you don't have to do anything special. The more the merrier. In fact, if we have like a home and it's packed to the brim and there's like no room to sit, that is a good thing. Okay, that's like an awesome thing because you're gonna get a lot of signups. Because when you have a lot of people in a tight, compressed spot and it looks like, oh my gosh, everybody's showing up, everybody's getting started, everybody's ready to do this, it kind of creates a feeding frenzy. So I always just kind of let them know, hey, keep your house exactly as is. Okay, so let's say you're there now. You've prepped your host ahead of time. You're there. One final thing to prepare your host is let them know to over-invite. A lot of times people, especially if they have, like a smaller home and they're like, oh, I'm not too sure, I can only have, I only have seating for this many in my living room. I don't want to have too many. I don't want people standing. Always, 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 always over-invite. And the reason being is because typically, let's say you invited, 30 people. And out of that 30, let's say half of them, like 15, 16 people said, okay, yeah, I'll come. Well, typically half of that's actually going to show. Why? Either they kind of gave like, oh yeah, we'll see if I can be there kind of thing. That's one reason. Or, things do come up. So I always tell people, hey, just invite a lot of people. And if when they're doing the invitation, they get someone and they're like, hey, what do you have going on Thursday night? They're like, oh, I'm taking my kid to soccer practice, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. Like, don't keep inviting. Stop. And then the host can go ahead and book a one-on-one meetup, or they could say, hey, you know what? I really got something important. I'd love to get together with you. What does your schedule look like? So we can meet up. And they can just flip it to a one-on-one. They don't have to go for the invite and kind of feel like let down, like, oh, they can't come. Like, well, they told you they couldn't come, right? So that is important. So over invite. So let's fast forward. Now it's a day of the party. You're there. You're the leader. You're getting whatever you need set up. Your host is there, and people are starting to show up. Now, good upbeat music being on is really important. You as the leader, as the one that's going to be presenting, as the one that's going to be in charge, you want to make a point no matter how much craziness you have going on. Like if you're there and you're like trying to set up, you want to make a point to always, always, always meet the guests. Okay. Now, why meet the guests? Well, those are the people you want to connect with. And the more of a connection that you can have with the people that are coming, the higher the chances of them signing up. Right? Like if you can get there and you can kind of shoot the breeze a little bit, and you can find out where they're from, and if you have any samples that you have to hand out, hey, this is what this is, and this is why we take it, and blah, blah, blah. And you kind of are just sharing a little bit, but your goal is really to connect up with the prospects that your host has invited. Then when everything's ready to rock it out, you're going to get them all seated in the living room, and then it's time to start. Now, some people have a video presentation that they just press play. Other people actually have like more of a flip chart style where they are presenting. Maybe it's a PowerPoint that they're using on the TV. But whatever the case may be, you as the speaker, you as the presenter, your entire goal is to share what you have to share, but you want to connect with the audience. So like if you are there and you have a room full of stay-at-home moms, whether you have any connection to that or not, you want to try and use stay-at-home mom language. If you're there and you have a room of like entrepreneurs or business owners or people in real estate, you want to try and use language and conduct yourself in a way that's going to relate most to them. Like you want them to think, oh, they're just like me. Oh, if they can do it, I can do it. Like that's the thoughts that you want going through their brain. So that's kind of your goal in meeting them, is to find out who are they, like what is their background? Are they a stay-at-home mom, or do they have two different businesses that they run? Are they, an engineer? Are they an attorney? Are they an employee? Where are they at in this world, and kind of where's their mindset at? Because then as you're talking, you can use things that is going to relate to those people, kind of speak their language, so to speak. So that is really important. So let's say you go through everything. Now, if you have testimonies and you have people in the room that can share testimonies, absolutely awesome. Me personally, if I'm going to have people share, I would like them to share from their seats. I don't want them to come up to the front, because if the minute that they come up to the front, it kind of looks rigged. But if I'm like, hey, is there anybody that has, something they like to share about this? And they're like, oh yeah, well, this is what happened for me. And they start talking. Awesome. Now, if you do know that you're going to have some testimonies and you may or may not know the people ahead of time, maybe kind of get a feel. Though you might also want to be meeting those people. So like some people may be arriving, maybe guests, other people may be arriving, maybe people that are in the team. You may know them or not know them, and kind of get a feel of where they're at. Now, one thing that's really important on testimonies is that they're powerful. They're short and powerful. A lot of times when somebody does get the opportunity to give their testimony, sometimes they get like so excited that they either start sharing their life story and they go on and on and on and on, or they'll kind of like take over the presentation. You're like, okay, yes, that's enough. So you want to kind of let the people know, like, if you think that they might share a testimony, hey, as you're talking to them before the meeting starts, and they're giving you, telling you what's happened in their life, how this has benefited them, say, hey, I'd love for you to share that. Do you think you might be able to share like 30 seconds sometime during the middle of the presentation? And that way they kind of know, yeah, I'm probably going to talk, and yeah, short and sweet, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, something kind of to the point. Because if they talk too long, they're going to they're going to lose the audience and you're going to kind of like have to herd the cats back together. So that is important. Okay, so you go through everything, done your testimonies, you've shared what you have to share, then you do your closing. Now, me personally, I do not believe in a hard close. Why? The harder you close, the less it duplicates. Like, this is not a business where you should have to twist somebody's arm to get them to join. If they see something in it for themselves, if it resonates in their heart, if this is like something that they believe they could possibly do, hey, we want to link arms and we want to run with them. But if this is not their cup of tea, no problem. Like, that's totally fine too. So typically my closes, I'll kind of work in something where I talk about, you know, hey, if they want to get started on the product, here's what they can do. Hey, if they think this is something that they want to use to change their life, if they're ready to make some changes in their finances, and like, you know, I'll share the dream, but I do not do pressure. I think if you put pressure, number one, your host is going to feel uncomfortable, the person that invited their friends. Number two, the people that are there, they're going to feel uncomfortable too. So we want to relieve any pressure from the room because it's just not necessary and it makes people uncomfortable. But we do want to give a good closing. So good closing, what does that look like? Me personally, I always like to make sure I have my paper applications. Why? Because I want it to be the most convenient, simple, easy, just super smooth way that anybody could possibly sign up. Like, I don't want it to be like, oh, I have to go online. Oh, I'm not that good on the internet. I don't want any questions in their mind. I don't want any kind of drawbacks. So I will take out my paper application. I will say, hey, you know, if you're looking to get started on our product, if you're looking to make some changes in your health, if you're looking to make some changes in your skincare, whatever it is you have, hey, if you're ready to do that, here's what you need to do. And I'll tell them how to get started. And before I do that, I'll make sure that they have one of these in their hands. So I'll point like, this is where you start. Then I'll say, you know, hey, if you're thinking you're really wanting to, you know, do this, you'd love to partner with us, you're ready to make some changes in your finances, I'll kind of explain a little bit on that. And I'll show them, you know, hey, this is what you fill out on the form. And then we kind of put that down and we close up the meeting. Now, this is where the magic really happens. The meeting after the meeting is the most important part. Like, your goal when you talk as a presenter, as a host, as a leader of that meeting is like, you want to have that thing done in like 25 minutes or less. Like, you don't need to be talking a long time, or your videos, like, it doesn't need to be long, because people, they have jobs the next day, they have kids at home, they got, you know, stuff to deal with, and we don't want to keep them there all night. We want it to be short, sweet, to the point, and get to the most important part. What's the most important part? The meeting after the meeting. So you finish. Now is the time where they can sign up. So we want to give them a lot of time so that they're not running out the door because the meeting went so long that they have to go, right? So how does that look? Well, one of the things that's very important that you want to do ahead of time with your host is you want to let them know, hey, I'm going to come, I'm going to present, I'm going to pour it on, it's going to be awesome. But at the end, it is your job to follow up with your guests and sign them up. Here's why. You as the leader, you're going to have the respect of the audience. They're going to believe what you're sharing as far as, you know, you have some credibility. However, you do not have their trust. Okay, who has their trust? The host of the audience has their trust. So while you're sharing the information and while you have the credibility, it's the host's job to go get those sign-up forms filled out. Your job is to kind of, you know, chill back a little bit. We're not going to be like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. We're going to be like a little chill. If they have questions, you're going to answer any questions. If whatever, you want to get them something to drink, you want to just kind of be a little bit more hang back while the host is going to come in and they're going to go around, and you want to train your host what to say. Hey, what did you like most about what you heard? And they tell them. Okay, was it the products? Was it the business opportunity? Tell me more about that. So first question, what did you like most about what you heard? Second question, tell me more about that. Third question, what do you see in this for yourself? And let them talk. Last part, sounds like you're ready to get started. Here's what you want to do next. And she's going to point, or he is going to point on the enrollment form. We're going to go ahead and get this part filled out. We'll get everything taken care of for you. And then, you know, either your order is going to come out to your door, or then the next step is we want to get together with you so we can put a launch plan in place so we can help you get your business in and out of the gates quickly. And so that is it. Though that's kind of the closing sequence. That's how the end of the party gets wrapped up. And if you prepare your host ahead of time and they invite a lot of people, you have, a good showing there, then you could do a party that could have, 3, 4, 5, 10 signups. I mean, you never can tell what might happen. So take these tips, use them, apply them. If you have people in your group that this would be helpful for, pass it along. One of the things that has been so very helpful is, kind of learning, kind of going through this process of, taking your mindset to the next level. And, one of the things that I find is oftentimes we have different things in our life that we're dealing with, right? That either hold us back from our breakthrough. They hold us back from ranking up. They hold us back from getting to the next level. They kind of hold us back from what we really want out of doing this business. And so if you've been kind of in that place where you're like, hey, I'm ready to get this thing on. I'm ready to, go to the next level in my team and take my team with me. I'm really ready to start rank advancing, start, getting those extra bonus checks to where, my full-time income is optional. Like if you are ready to really make things happen, then I have something that will help you get to the finish line. It will help you get your breakthrough. If you click on the link that's listed in the description, this is my 10-step process. This is the process for clearing through all of that crap that's been holding you back and finally rank advancing, finally, getting to the finish line. And so if you are ready to do that, then click on the link, go through the 10 steps. I am fully confident that it will be something that will revolutionize your life. Like your life will never be the same again. If you go through those 10 steps and you take that seriously, there's no telling what can happen. And I'm excited. I'm looking forward to hearing your success story. So get that. That is my free gift to you. All right, my friends, take care. Be blessed. I will see you all next time. If this has been helpful, drop a note for me in the comment section and feel free to share with your team. Take care.